Okay, so we're back, and the first thing we're gonna do this week is paint our bunnies, and we're doing a lot of texture this week. Texture's kind of my favorite. If you've been here for a while, you know I do love some good texture. So what we're gonna give you is some paint thickener and some paint. You get to pick your paint color. I decided to go with just like a creamy color, but you get to pick, so you don't have to do creamy. Real bunny colors, we're not gonna do, well, real bunny colors would be like grays or browns, tans, creams. Okay, if you wanted like a pink or purple bunny, Easter is coming up. If some of you want to do that, that's fine. Okay, but I'm just going with a cream. And what we're going to do is we're going to pile some of this up on your plate, and you're going to mix it, and that will color your stuff. Okay, now notice how I'm keeping it piled up and I'm not spreading it all over the plate. I know a lot of us like to just spread it all out, but we want to be able to use this, and we want most of this to go onto our painting. Okay, so I'm going to bring it and I'm going to paint with it, and you'll see it's going to be kind of thick. Okay, it is hard. That's why our bunny outlines are super, that's what I'm looking for. Super simple, because it is kind of hard to stay in the line. So like if we had to something really complex, it would be very difficult to do with this texture. Texture paintings are usually a lot simpler in design and composition. Composition's how you arrange things. But you can see how thick it's getting, okay? Now this is just the paint thickener and the paint. And I'm just doing a layer like this, okay? And it's okay if it's not super thick. Some of you might like it a little thinner, but you don't want to spread it all out. You do want it to be kind of thick on there. So what I'm doing is I'm going to let it be really thick on the edges and a little thinner in the middle, okay? So even if you have to, if I've already painted an area, I can still come back. You see how I just get some on the tip, and I just kind of put it back in, okay? Now at first, I'm gonna paint around this bunny tail, and I got into the grass, that's okay. But I'm gonna come back and do the bunny tail as well. I just don't wanna lose where the bunny tail is. I'm gonna make the bunny tail extra thick, okay? So I'm making it a little thin around the bunny tail, and then I'm gonna come back, because we're gonna do, after we paint these in, we're gonna come back and do kind of like a shading color, okay? With the same paint that we just used. So do this on both bunnies. Okay. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a big thick glob, and I'm gonna make my little bunny tail. Just so I can see, you should be able to see where it's at. Okay, there we go. Now, I'm gonna do the other bunny in the same, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how we're gonna add some value to this, okay? Okay, so now we're gonna make, and your bunnies are gonna have to match, even though some of you might be like, we really want to change the bunny color. They are gonna have to match, because with all the variations that we're gonna be making for everybody, we can't have a bunch of different bunny colors. But this will teach you how to do it. And you can buy this at Hobby Lobby, and this is the thick modeling paste. So if you decide at some point you're like, I want to try that again, okay, you can go to Hobby Lobby and buy that and mix a little paint with it and try it, okay? So I'm going to switch to a smaller paintbrush. And I'm going to take this darker color that we've mixed, and we're just going to do some light shading around the edges. Okay, so all I'm going to do is just a little bit of that, and then I'm going to do just around kind of the edges. See that? And then the same thing here. It's not going to be perfect. Some areas will be a little bit darker. Some areas will be a little bit lighter, but I just keep going back. And if you need to, you can always wipe your little paintbrush off. Okay. So the shading, what it's doing is it's providing definition, okay? and value. Value is really important in art. When you're not making faces on these bunnies, we're keeping them really simple. I know some of you are gonna be like, ooh, I can add a face with that. No, we're not making faces. This is the back of the bunny. We're not doing any faces, okay? So what the shading does is we're just gonna round the edges, and it provides a little bit of outlining and definition, and then it also creates some value, and value creates contrast and makes your painting look a little bit more refined and finished, okay? Now we are not gonna be able to blow dry this, I don't think. I'll try it in a minute. So, but we are gonna let it just dry like this for right now while we do our flowers and such, okay? So again, with the flowers, before we even start, I want you to understand this is a simple painting. Simple, okay? The flowers need to be simple. You cannot be making super complex 10 petal flowers and expect them to look good, okay? These are gonna be really simple designs and really simple things, okay? All right, so already that's looking really good. And now I'm gonna add some flowers and then we're gonna be done. Hold on one second. Okay, so we're gonna do a few flowers at a time. And again, like I said, they have to stay really simple. When you look at these, okay, the flowers are actually kind of heart shapes. If you don't like that, some of them are kind of like this, where they're more tulip shapes. Some simple little circles would be okay. And then you can see these other ones are just like little dots. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do some little patches of these flowers, and we're just gonna do a few at a time. And then I'm gonna show you how to do these stems, because you see how thin the stems are? Okay, my paintbrush is too wide for that. So I'm gonna show you how to do the flowers and the stems. We'll do a few little patches of those. And then we're gonna come back and we'll do all of these little dots of flowers in the grass, okay? So what I'm gonna start with are some flowers up here, and we're gonna give you these colors you're gonna get, flowery colors, okay? Purple, pink, red, yellow, orange. Now, if you only want a couple of different colors, that's fine, okay? I don't care what colors you use. All right, so I'm gonna go with the little heart shape on the first one, and then I'll also show you how to do one of the more tulip shaped ones, okay? So I'm gonna do just like a little heart like that, and it doesn't have to be perfectly heart shaped, okay? And then let's say instead of a heart, I'm gonna do a purple one right here, okay? If you wanted it to be like a tulip shape, you could do a letter V with a line in the middle, okay? And again, we're not doing a whole bunch of different types of flowers. Now, if you really, really, really wanted a flower with petals and a middle, here's what you could do, but you got to keep it really small, okay? So let's say I want a flower with petals. I'm going to draw an X very carefully and slowly, and put 2 lines down the middle like a little snowflake. And then I'm going to come in the middle and do my little center, okay? So those are the 3 types of flowers that we're gonna do in these little bunches. And flowers do tend to grow in groups, okay? So you might see several little pink flowers. Now, you don't wanna do too many right above and below each other, because we're gonna have to do stems down, okay? So I'm gonna start with just these 3, and then I'll show you how to do the stems. So just do maybe like 3 at a time, and then do some stems, and then do a couple more. So all we're gonna do is take that card that we did the last time, and you're gonna put it in the dark green paint that we give you. You're gonna kind of draw your stem down like this. And then same thing here, draw it down. And then same thing here, draw it down. Same thing here, draw it down. Okay, isn't that cool? Okay, and that way you can get that really thin stem. Now, if I want some more flowers in here, I have these spaces open. So now I can come through and maybe do another one of these, the little middle, and another one of these. And then we're still gonna do another type of flower in just a minute. Now that one's not showing up very good, but that's okay. Okay, And then I'm gonna do those stems. Okay, and then you can always do a little extra grass if you want to, but you don't have to. All right, or if you wanted to wash your paintbrush and dry it and do some little dashes for little leaves, that's okay too, all right? This needs to be a slow process where you do like one or two at a time, and if you rinse your brush between colors, make sure they get totally dry, okay? So we're doing a little patch at a time, and then I'll come over here and do a little patch, and then I'll come over here and do a little patch, okay? And then I'm gonna come back and show you how to do the little in-between flowers, and we'll be done. Okay, so now that that's done, I'm looking at it and it's so cute. If as you're going, you have a color like this light purple did not show up in the grass as much as maybe I wanted it to, we might come by and suggest, hey, maybe you should use a darker purple, or hey, maybe you should use a, you know, add a little white to it or something. But that's just to give you that contrast so it stands out. But I'm okay with it not standing out because I have so much going on in here that it's okay to occasionally have something that doesn't have contrast. It still creates visual interest and looks good, okay? So I love how this is looking. If you like it just like this, you don't have to do anything else. But something else you can do, and we're gonna come by and give you some white for this too, because that would be super cute. I still have some white left. I'm doing this video on the same day, so I still have some white left right here, so I'll just use that. But you could do some other colors too, and we're gonna do some small flowers. Now, the way to do the small flowers is a number of ways. I'm gonna show you some different strategies. I wouldn't do them all totally different. I'd make some of them the same. So like one strategy might be you just wash and dry your brush. Remember, drying your brush is really important. And let's say I want to do little white flowers in the background. Then I'm just going to do little white dots like that with the tip of my brush, okay? And those are going to look like little white flowers, okay? Or you could also use the hard end of your brush, and you could come in and let's say I want to do some little red flowers, and you could do little red dots like that. Now, those dots do get smaller as you get going, okay? But that's okay. You just get some more paint. Now we are not going to be able to take these home this week, probably, because they're going to be super wet, unless if you want to and your parents are fine with letting them dry in the back, like laying them flat, that's fine. But I would say we're probably going to need to leave them. You can try to blow dry it. I'm going to try to blow dry mine, but I don't think they're going to be dry before you leave, okay? So these are so beautiful. I can't wait to see everybody's little bunnies and the colors that you choose. And don't forget, texture can be a really interesting and fun way to add visual interest and make your artwork look more inviting and cool.